everybody. I must say I feel so glamorous in this look. This is my Estee Lauder one brand tutorial. You cannot say I don't have variety on this channel because I've just been doing, you know, some videos on Wet n Wild and NYC, and now here I am with Estee Lauder. So when I do these one brand looks, it's been a while since I've done one. The last one I did was Wet n Wild, and so now it's time for high end. I go every other. The way this particular one brand tutorial came about is kind of interesting. Through doing all the makeup videos that I do, I've become connected with some awesome people, and one of those is a fellow makeup lover, expert in the industry, and his name is David, and he's a makeup artist with Estee Lauder. He basically sent me the materials to do a one brand tutorial with Estee Lauder as a friend gift, you know, kind of thing. David is the one who gave me the lipstick that was engraved with my name, which is so special to me, and I keep it in a special place up on top of my bookshelf. And I feel like the things that he sent me for this one brand tutorial were so kind of customized with me in mind, and I think I feel so special for that, you know? I mean, he even, through just seeing me on YouTube, totally matched me perfectly on foundation and concealer, which I think is amazing. The three components, the kind of ideas I had in mind for this look: flawless skin, bold lips, and the eyes are a little bit more natural, extremely blended out and soft. If you've been curious also about applying eyeshadows wet, that's going to be happening in this look too. And then at the end of the video, I provide my little review on the different things. I'm excited, I hope you like it, and here's the look. Alright, first step, I'm going to apply my Double Wear Stay in Place makeup. It's got SPF 10, and my shade is 2N2 Fresco 01. Looks like this. As usual with foundation, I kind of roughly like to dot this around on the face and then use a nice dense brush to get it all blended out. This is a really nice creamy formula. It's got a little more thickness to it than a lot of the liquid foundations from the drugstore have. Also one of the few foundations where the coverage is just so good. I mean, I can see it covering up things that normally I would have to use concealer to cover up. And this foundation did win an Emily Award this past time around for Best High-End Foundation. It definitely is the best coverage foundation that I own. Now that definitely minimizes the amount of concealer I'm gonna need, but I do have a concealer to use to show you, and it's the Double Wear Stay in Place Flawless Wear Concealer. It looks like this. It has a little wand applicator, and my shade is Warm Light Medium 08. I'm going to just touch up a couple of places very lightly. In my experience with this concealer, it only takes a tiny bit. Using my Sigma P80 brush to just blend that in. Again, coverage is just really fantastic with this, and it really just kind of blends in to the exact same finish that the foundation has. Sometimes I notice that because I bounce around with a lot of different brands, and it's like sometimes the concealer is much more dewy or something than the foundation was, and this just really goes matte, which in turn keeps you looking more flawless. When the concealer ends up having a shine to it or kind of catches the light, you can see those, you know, bags or contours to the skin even more. So you kind of want that matte finish. So I really like that quality to this concealer. I don't have an Estee Lauder powder to use with this look, and honestly I don't really feel like I need it. I mean, like I said, the skin is totally matte, and I've used this foundation without powders in the past, and my skin actually fares pretty well with it. So I'm going to move on to bronzer, and I have the Bronze Goddess Soft Duo Bronzer in 03 Amber Bronze Medium. The packaging is so pretty, and this is a really large compact, like the size of the palm of my hand, and it's split into two matte bronzers. So one's pretty light and one is perfect for contour. I am just gonna run this kind of around the hairline, that darker shade. I'm going to contour the cheekbone area a little bit as well. It's just the perfect tone. It's not too orangey, so it really can function as a contour for you. Next up, I'm going to apply the blush, and this is the Pure Color blush in Pink Ingenue, and it is a shimmer, and as you can see, it's just kind of like a pink, almost berry-toned blush. And so this, I'm going to kind of start to lightly dust that in on the outer part of the apple of my cheek and just kind of blend upward. I could see a deeper skin tone still being able to wear this kind of blush, because you could totally go back and build the color to, you know, whatever intensity you like. I am going to do kind of a strong lip with this look, so I'm going to go ahead and do that before I do the eyes. I'm using the Double Wear pencil in Apple Cordial, and this is a really nice kind of intense berry red. I've used this with and without the lipstick that I'm going to put on top of it. It's incredibly long wearing. I mean, I filled my lips in just with this pencil because I like the color so much, and then topped it off with a gloss, and it stayed like for most of a day. So I like to fill in my lips entirely. I just feel like it has really good staying power that way. And then I'm going to take this Pure Color lipstick in Cheating Heart over the top of that. And this again kind of has that deep red feel to it, but kind of a berry, you know, there's a little bit of pink in this as well, and I love those kinds of shades. They really make your teeth look whiter too. It just looks like kind of a cream, maybe satiny finish to the lips. So kind of bold, and I really like it. For the eyes, I'm starting out on my brows, and I'm using the Automatic Brow Pencil Duo. On one end, this has a little angled brush, so you can kind of brush the product through, but first you're going to use this retractable pencil side. And so it's a really dry pencil. I don't like things that are too super creamy on the brows, because I feel like it kind of just makes the hairs cling together and it doesn't last as long. So I'm going to go ahead and just sort of fill this in with light strokes in the area that I normally would. Color-wise, I like the pencil isn't coming off reddish. Sometimes brown pencils are just a little too warm, and this one does come off really natural, and then you can kind of brush the brow up a little bit. For the eyeshadow now, I've got this pretty kind of metallic looking kit in Bronze Sands, and I'm not sure if this is still available. And these, I mean, have a decent amount of color payoff dry, but David recommends using them wet, so that's what I'm going to be doing for this look. I keep a little like spray bottle of water handy, and when I do anything wet, I just spritz a little water there on my hand, and then I just dab my brush in that to moisten it, and then go into the product. So real easy. I've been asked a lot about doing stuff wet and how that works, but I'm taking the white pearly shade in that kit. I guess there were two. This is the real champagne kind of white shade, and I'm just gonna dab that on the lid, and you can see the color payoff. I mean, you get such a metallic finish when you do it wet as well. Then I'm going to this Pure Color shadow, and you can see it's got like a neat little texture. It's like rippled. There, can you see that? This is the Cyber Metallic Cyber Ruby. This is the Jelly or Gelée powder eyeshadow. So similar texture to the other. So again, I moisten my hand, moisten the brush, and then I just kind of pat it in the product a little bit and pick up some of that. I'm just patting this beautiful burgundy shade. It's not overly red, so like if you've wanted to play with this sort of a tone on your eye, but you're afraid of it looking too red and then that making you look tired or whatever, this is a great, it has a nice amount of depth to it. And you can see I'm patting that on the lid, and I feel like I've got some more product in there, so I'm kind of pulling it upward. It's amazing how, you know, these shadows can be worked with so easily wet. Taking a little more of the shadow and kind of pulling it down this way as well, so our crease part isn't just on the outside, but we're working it inward some. The other interesting thing is that these can still be blended out as if they're powders. If you think just because you apply it wet, then you can't go over it and still, you know, blend it and buff out the edges, I feel like you still really can. Not really trying to create any sort of prominent outer V here. I just want it to look really soft. Then I'm going to go back to this first shade we used wet. Just going to use it dry with a fluffy brush here, and that's going to be my really light highlight under the brow. I want to go back to the Cyber Ruby and use an angled liner brush here. Didn't wet this one down. I'm going to take that under the eye just a bit, under the outside here. Then I'm just going to take a pencil brush and totally soften that up. Then I'm going to use this Double Wear Stay in Place eyeliner duo. So it's 2 pencil liners. I love the double liner concept. I think it's really handy, especially when the shades are really shades you'd use a lot, like Onyx here, that's the black, and Coffee is the brown. So I'm going to take the black first and apply that right across my upper lash line. I feel like I always, when I'm using a pencil, I tend to start in the middle and work my way out. And as you can see, this draws on real smooth without any tugging, but it's not as creamy as some eyeliners that I have. Some eyeliners, like I feel like Urban Decay's 24/7 liners, you know, they glide on real easy and really, really creamy, and then they do, you know, eventually set to be very long wearing. This one doesn't start out as creamy, but it still is going on fairly, you know, effortlessly. I'm going to use a little bit of the Coffee side, just kind of right where I did the burgundy under the eye, except with this, I'm really concentrating on just getting it like right up in between the lashes. I just want, you know, I want kind of that fade effect. See how it's nice and deep right in the lash line, and then it kind of fades out. That's what I want. Next, I'm just going to curl my lashes. I usually like to hold this for like probably 15 seconds in all, and then I kind of, you know, loosen it a little bit and then work my way out on the lash somewhat, so it's not just one, you know, crimp to the lash. It's got a little bit of curl all the way out. So I love the concept behind this mascara. It's the Sumptuous two-tone, and it's got black on one end and brown on the other. And David says that that's kind of an old makeup artist trick to make the eye appear bigger, more open, because you've got, you know, you're not really putting dark on both top and bottom lash line. And the brushes you're gonna see are different sizes. Here's the regular brush for the top here, kind of cone shaped, a little bit tapered toward the tip, which I think is pretty user-friendly. And I like this mascara a lot for length, but I don't feel like it's as good with separating my lashes. I've had some samples of this, some smaller sizes, and I feel like, you know, as I have them for a while, maybe the formula dries out a little bit and it does seem to separate a little bit better. Then check out this great little brush for the bottom part. Totally tiny. Still with the cone shape. I love that it comes to a tapered tip because that's really, really easy to get in here. And I just love the thought that, you know, you're not applying a mascara that's as deep and dark, so you get kind of a widened effect with the eye. Going back and applying just a little extra shadow to this eye. Felt like the other one had just gotten a little bit darker. So I hope you enjoyed the look. I mean, obviously, this is really high quality stuff. Very high end. I mean, I'm super grateful for David for supplying me with the stuff to do this look. And I hope, David, if you're watching, I hope you liked how it came out. Even though I was, you know, gifted a lot of this stuff, I thought I would walk you through the things, like when I run out, the things I will absolutely repurchase again. One thing, you know, as I said, Emily Award winner, the Double Wear Foundation. I love this. Amazing coverage. It's so nice to know that, like, when you want the most full-on coverage, and this has not been overly touched up with powders, concealers. I mean, you saw I used a minimal amount of concealer, but, you know, it's basically all this foundation doing this work on my skin, and I just love it. Great staying power, great coverage. Those are like two great things to have in a foundation. So if I run out of this, which I'm sure I will, I'm gonna go back and get more, absolutely. Another thing I would repurchase is the concealer. I feel like it really works nicely with the foundation. It kind of sets on the skin to a matte finish, yet it doesn't look like a cakey finish at all. I think that's amazing for two things to be so full coverage and not look it on the skin. Really taken with this lip color. I absolutely love the reds that go a little bit berry toned. I think they're so flattering. I feel like it's a lip color for all seasons. I don't care what the trend is. I don't care what people are doing. This looks good no matter what. So the Pure Color Cheating Heart lipstick, I hope this isn't limited edition because I really love this shade and I love the texture of it as well. It's definitely you know, I feel like my lips are hydrated, but at the same time, I don't feel like it's so slick that it would run outside the lip line. I would have to say I would go for the lip liner as well for a repurchase, because I think I've got a lot of pinks in lip liners. I've got a lot of berries, but nothing that really so closely walks the line between red and berry, so this apple cordial was perfect. These things are probably my absolute favorites from this look. This is a gorgeous blush color. I highly doubt I will run out of it anytime soon, since it doesn't take much to get the look I want, but I've also got a lot of blushes, and I've got a lot of things that are kind of around this color, this sort of pink, but with a nice bit of depth to it. The Bronze Goddess bronzer, I think it's a great idea to have two bronzers, like a split pan thing going on there. The fact that I have found so many great lower cost bronzers, I don't know that, again, this would be the type of thing I would rush out and repurchase, but for, you know, hardcore Estee Lauder fans or people who think that's exactly what I need, you know, this is really nice, and it is entirely matte. The eyeshadows are something I want to investigate more, basically, from this brand. You saw this ruby color at work, and I love the way it came off. Like, I love that, you know, you can use it wet, you can use it dry, it can still be blended, it can be, I mean, effortlessly buffed out. This was not a lot of work, you know, the eye was easy. So I love when, you know, the shadow kind of does the work for you. I do feel like I like that texture and the texture in this palette, you know, also kind of a wet dry sort of thing. I like that a little bit better, well, quite a bit better really, than some of the Estee Lauder shadows that are in sort of the gift with purchase palette things going on here. I feel like these always end up being a little bit sheer, and so I love the full color you can get with those other kinds. For the automatic brow pencil duo, I like this. I like the way it looked on my eyes. It was a very dry kind of pencil that you could feel like, you know, it was looking like hair instead of looking like something overly thick and creamy that just wouldn't make sense on the brows. So I really like the way that came out, and this is probably going to be like a go-to type thing for when I travel, but I am also really liking, you know, the brow powder concept right now. So I'm kind of torn between, you know, those two ideas. And a couple things that I think are amazing in theory, the double-ended eyeliner, the double-ended mascara, black and brown on each, so you don't like end up really making the eye seem so closed in with all black. I love that idea. I love that within one mascara you've got a bigger brush and then a smaller brush. Like, it's not rocket science, but it's a great idea. I'm totally pleased with the length on this, but I feel like it kind of can bunch up the lashes sometimes, make me look like I don't have as many lashes. So that's the one downfall for this liner. Went on fairly easily. It really does last a long time. I think the thing that I struggle with is the thought that I have some lower cost liners that also have great color, go on smooth, last all day, and don't cost as much. But the two colors in one thing is something I don't see all the time, and I do think that that is the, you know, the handy convenience of both of these products. I think there's no doubt that this is very high quality makeup, and it's not that I'm just realizing this as if this is the first time I've used it. I've been, you know, playing around with this stuff for a couple months now. When it comes to, you know, what you would purchase, it's like, what are those things that are so different that you just wouldn't be without in your collection? I feel like I've found some of those. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I hope it was informative, and I will see you again next time. The next one brand tutorial will be a drugstore one. So thanks again, guys. Have a great day.